Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Today, I'm going to talk about the news this week. And the first news is it's on kitco.com. And the title is Art is Becoming 3D, NFTs will bridge all world with virtual reality. Okay, so in this news, it talks about NFT will be the new feature of the art presentation. So in this article, I think it was written by David Lin, and he interviewed he interviewed an artist, and this artist she pretty much mentioned that her name is Amrita Sethi. So she mentioned that in the future, all the art will become more like interactive in the 3D space, which and can be sold through NFT or will become NFT, and you can use cryptocurrency to purchase it. Why? And she pretty much mentioned that this will be a trend, something similar to like Picasso, right? When Picasso start, do the revelation of the painting history, pretty much his paintings was being sold millions of dollars or billions of dollars. So that's why you can see a lot of NFT art. They were sold by a few $1,000,000. It's because they are the revolutions. So I really like the concept of this artist, NFT artist, Amrita. And she pretty much, during the interview, the host pretty much scanned the QR code, and there's and then it links to an Instagram, and he kind of scanned the picture, and then there are some interesting animation shows up. So yeah, so I think this is kind of like a really interested way to present art as well. So in the future, the art won't be just a 2D flat painting. It will be an interactive art, right? And since NFT pretty much can secure its scarcity, right? Make sure it's only a few pieces out there, or you own the only one, right? Because we all know that digital, we can always copy and paste and duplicate a lot of art pieces. So in order to make sure the value of the art, so I think this is a very smart way to use NFT, this technology, to create art and make sure that the artist can preserve the values of the original art. So yeah, so I encourage you to read this news. Yeah, another one is another very interesting news. It's on QZ.com. The title is called "The Metaverse Will Mostly Be for Work." Okay, so this article was written by Scott Nover, and in this article, he featured a Stanford professor, Jeremy Bellison, featured his course and in Stanford, which is called Virtual Human, right? Virtual Human Interaction Lab. So he created a course there, and then start experiment using VR to teach students kind of around pandemic. And I think this is a very interesting thing, even though when I saw the class, it's pretty much Zoom picture with everyone wearing VR headset. It's very interesting. I think Zoom is very easy to access because if you have internet, right? And it's very easy to use, and we get used to that. But VR, it's a little bit chunky. You need to wear a headset and you need to, turn on it. And yeah, it takes some time and you need to, kind of like make sure the space, kind of, yeah. And then sometimes if you kind of out a little bit, you will see the reality, the world. So sometimes I will find out that when I play VR game, if the game is too immersive, then I usually feel a little annoying because I might get out of the line and see the reality. And, yeah, because I usually draw a safe zone around me. So yeah, this is something that I am aware of. Yeah, it's like for example, when I play ping pong, right? And I was so excited and I want to, get out and get the ball, but I jump out to the safety zone. And then when I come back, sometimes, the system won't work the same. The position were a little off and I feel something was off just because the game was too immersive. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, he also co-founded a company called Steer VR. Pretty much Steer VR is helping people to train staffs. I really like the writer and also the professor. I think they wrote like this article is really, really valuable, even though I've been reading a lot of articles before, but I think this one is really valuable. Yeah, so start with what's metaverse. Metaverse, the term metaverse comes from Neil Stephenson's 1996 book, Snow Crash. So pretty much is similar to internet, but just skip the 2D part. I really like the description because I think every time when people ask like, what's metaverse? And there are always millions of answers, but I think this one is simple and get to the point because metaverse pretty much, skip the 2D version, which is what we are normally use, right? It's in internet pretty much democratize or kind of like decentralize the access for the platform, right? And kind of connect everyone together. And metaverse pretty much is similar to internet, connect everyone together as long as you have Wi-Fi, right? You have Wi-Fi, you have the access. And then for metaverse, it's pretty much, you use the 2D version. Kind of like right now we are using the 2D version of the metaverse on the internet. But if we make everything 3D, right, and we can still access this virtual place anywhere, that's called metaverse. I really like this explanation. And this VR technology ready for this. Yeah, so as far as I know that VR has been, being discussed for a long time. And back in 2017, 16, during that time, people start calling that, oh, this is the first year or VR year zero, number zero or something. So, or like the first year of VR, right? Sometimes I would feel that, yes. And, after we calling that, everything was not getting better, right? But the interesting thing is during COVID, yeah, I've heard that, oh, people start wondering why we are not getting, rocked or getting better boost, right? During, in the past, but during COVID, there are ups and downs. In this article, it mentions that, because of the chips shortage, so a lot of platforms or startup or, a lot of business couldn't sustain, which is the downside. But as for good part is that, because we couldn't really meet in person. So virtual experience is very important, especially online experience. A lot of like mom and pop shops, they are forced to be digitized or they will die, right? So this is kind of like a trend. And especially you see COVID, recently I read some news, it seems like, some variant, they can beat up the vaccine or, like a lot of unpredictable stuff happening. So I would say that this types of new normal will be least for at least a few years. So yeah, so virtual experience is extremely very, very important, especially for metaverse, right? Because before VR, we always think VR is for game. But now if VR can do something that we usually do in normal life, then VR is not just a game. Game is just, I would say it's like a vitamin C, right? Game is like, you can have fun, right? But you don't, it's not necessary in the life. But as for work, right? For, I don't know, shopping, right? And also for reading, exercise, cooking, right? A lot of stuff that that we do normally today, if we migrate all those main functions or necessary functions or essential behaviors in the metaverse, right? It will make the concept of metaverse more solid. For example, we go online, we shop, right? And we, you know, like I watch videos and do exercise, dance every day. So think about that. Whatever we can do online, we can totally do in metaverse. And maybe, you know, like it's because it feels so real. So it can, you know, make you change your behaviors, right? So in this article, it talks about Steer VR, pretty much train, like being used to train staff. And I think in this article, it talks about there was one accident. There was a gunshot happening in Texas in Walmart. But since they use Steer VR to train their staff how to cope with this kind of emergency, so pretty much, you know, nothing happened, and the staff successfully, you know, cope with this emergency situations. So pretty much this VR, if you use it for training staff, it allows people to, you know, get the immersive experience. I remember previous weeks in our news read in our news session, one of the company, I think it's in England, they use VR to train kind of like mail deliver, how to avoid dogs in the garden, right? So this is very interesting because you see, like if you just watch a bunch of videos, right? It might not be as, you know, you might not remember as much as putting you inside a VR space, a really real simulation place, and let you to, you know, start cope with it with, yeah. So I think this is a much better training for staffs. And also I would say that right now it's very interesting to see, like you see, because of pandemic, right? So people kind of don't want to go back to work. It's interesting that before people people want a job, right? But right now, since, you know, after a pandemic, people still want to get a better offer, and then still you see like a lot of companies, traditional companies, still couldn't find people on site working. So how to train your staff work remotely is very important. So I would say that very interesting. So about like something like a social media, right? Because pandemic caused a lot of depression and, you know, kind of like distance people from people, right? But for human, for everyone, we are still social animals. We still want to, you know, meet with people. I think in VR space, as long as it is done right, we still want to meet people. And it's very interesting that in the article you mentioned that people want to be anonymous at some point, but somehow people want to show who they are at some point. So I think it's very interesting to see how we can, make sure everyone, like this new metaverse meets everyone's needs. People can be anonymous at some point, or people can show their identity, right? And this can actually bound everyone together, even though, across the place, right? Because right now, Zoom is, people still feel like Zoom is handy, but it just, within a small square, and you have to figure out the person, or, sometimes there are some, for example, like a dog barking, my neighbor's dog barking, and I just get lost. I just, my attention couldn't really focus on the Zoom meeting, right? And imagine after 8 hours of Zoom meeting, everyone get fatigued. Yeah, so I would say that VR might be another new solutions, but I would say that first, probably the headset. The headset right now is too heavy, right? And sometimes there will be some latencies just because of the, I don't know, Wi-Fi, or, sometimes you get out of the safety zone when you get back. Everything just mispositioned, right? My hand is weirdly positioned and I couldn't even get it off. I have to turn off it and get it back. And the setup is a little, time consuming. Yeah, and especially, people wear that heavy headset for, I would say, more than 30 minutes. People might not be able to handle more, right? So I would say, even though the experience is amazing, immersive, but I would say the hardware need to be improved, and also, more platforms or more functional platforms, necessary platforms need to be built. So people feel that, okay, I buy a headset and I can use for a lot of things instead of I just can play a game. So that's my thoughts. And thank you for joining me today, and hopefully see you next week. Bye-bye.